Palm oil. Palm oil is an oval-shaped fruit native to West Africa. Palm oil is harvested mainly in Nigeria, and it takes about 15 years for it to grow to a full-size length. It grows along the palm belt in southern Nigeria and forms in clusters on the palm trees. Palm oil consists of 4 layers: a thick outer skin, a layer of oily fiber, which covers the nut, and the last area is the palm kernel. The palm oil was mainly extracted and processed in large plantations mills and exported to industrialized countries like Britain that made use for it in several ways. Nigeria was not the only area that exported a large quantity of palm oil, but it was the most consistent source over time. Indonesia, Congo, and Malaya also exported palm oil. Indonesia exported large amounts of palm oil and for a decade exported more than Nigeria. But when the Dutch were removed, exports decreased due to decline and stagnation of demands. Similarly, the Congo and Malaya produced numerous amounts of exports, but due to the political circumstances, their palm oil industries did not last very long. Palm oil was a very essential trade item for the Nigerian people. The British mainly used it in manufacturing it as a lubricant, but it was also used as an ingredient in soap, as well as for cooking. Palm oil is also found in some cosmetics and sometimes used as a fuel source. Palm oil was an intricate part of the Igbo culture, as Chinua Achebe exhibits throughout his novel, Things Fall Apart. They used it as a fuel for candles and also used for cooking. It is often referenced as being a seasoning, as the Igbo people would soak yams in it to add flavor. In addition to this, palm oil was also used in rituals, shown when Okonkwo offered a sacrifice of new palm oil to his ancestors, asking them to protect his family in the new year. The British core country, who took control of the Nigerian economy, saw a very profitable market in the palm oil since it had many valuable uses, both to Africans and Europeans. The British were participating in New Imperialism and had economic control over Nigerian African traders and entrepreneurs, who had to report back to the British bosses instead of making their own profit. Any resistance was easily put down, as the British were far superior in their technology and weaponry. Now to Alex.
The colonized Nigerian people were forced to supply Britain with the raw material of palm oil. They set up plantations where the Africans were to grow and harvest palm oil for very little to no pay. Once the palm oil was harvested, the British took their cheap raw material and manufactured it into several other items, earning themselves a large profit since very little was returned to the African laborers. This example shows a wider trend of the period where more advanced industrialized countries were exploiting less powerful to put themselves further ahead in wealth and power. Wallerstein's core periphery model examines this relationship, and he states that the core benefits from taking advantage of the weaker periphery in an unequal reciprocal relationship. Nigeria wasn't the only place being exploited. Many peripheral countries in Latin America, all over Africa, and in some Asian provinces including India were being used as labor sources and produced cheap raw materials which the Europeans took, manufactured, and sold at a higher price for big profit. Ultimately, new imperialism brought along many changes economically and politically for both core and peripheral nations. Different export crops, including palm oil, were used to the advantage of core nations, highlighting the principle of new imperialism. Palm oil was used for many different purposes, and because it was such an advantageous source of income, it was something that core nations thought was worth investing in. This capitalist attitude of the core nations towards earning a profit was the basis behind new imperialism and can be clearly seen in this case study of palm oil.
Works cited.